If you wanted to know whether or not the semiconductor industry would remain red hot in 2025 and potentially beyond, look no further than TSM's Q4 results, which came out before the market opened today. And spoiler alert, these results are absolutely spectacular. In today's video, we'll go through not just the revenues, the profits, the cash flows from their most recent quarter. We'll take a look at the outlook and the guidance this company provides. We'll also dissect some comments made by management as it pertains not just to TSM, but the whole semiconductor and AI industry as a whole. And look, whether or not you're invested in TSM or not, it's really important to pay attention to a company like this because it drives the whole semiconductor manufacturing chain and affects companies like Nvidia, like AMD, like Broadcom, and a whole bunch of other companies that rely on these high-end semiconductor chips. And when TSM is positive and bullish on future outlook, yeah, that's probably a great sign for Nvidia, probably a great sign for AMD and Intel. It's definitely a great sign for Broadcom as well. So we'll jump into all of that and more. Now look, shares are up nearly 5% today, and as we go through today's results, you'd probably be surprised as to why shares aren't up even more, and that's because shares are up nearly 113% over the past 1 year alone. And so look, some of these gains have absolutely been front run into this print, but as we walk through these results, I'll let you be the judge to decide whether or not you think the gains over at TSM still have more room to expand. Now, in terms of Q4 revenues, those came in at $26.9 billion, up close to 37%. That's right, 37% year over year, beating estimates by nearly $900 million on Wall Street. You also got a beat on the bottom line as Q4 GAAP EPS came in at $2.24. Now, one thing I do want to point out is TSM is a company that likes to provide revenue figures really on a month over month basis. And so we got revenue figures for December. We also got it for November and October. And so analysts on Wall Street have a really good sense of where quarterly revenues, even full year revenues, will tend to land. And so about a week ago, we got those sales numbers from December. And so that helps and really even predicts where Q4 and quarterly revenues will begin to land. And despite that, despite knowing where the quarter would land, you still got a pretty nice beat on Q4 revenues as it pertains to TSM. Now, in terms of guidance, this is the most important part, I think, from this print, is that you got comments made by management saying, moving into the first quarter 2025, we expect our business to be impacted by smartphone seasonality, but partially offset by continued growth in AI-related demand. And look, it's certainly no surprise that AI-related demand is what's driving up shares over at TSM, but what I want to point out is the slowdown in smartphone and PC seasonality is being more than offset by the growth and the continued demand in AI-related revenues. Now, in terms of the upcoming Q1, TSM is expecting revenues to land at a midpoint of $25.4 billion, well higher than the consensus for $24.75 billion. In fact, TSM's low-end guidance for the revenues figure was higher than the average estimate on Wall Street. So they're coming in ahead of that Q1 guidance. They also came in with a nice beat. And note that they also guide for CapEx for the full year, and that is expected to be in the range of $38 up to $42 billion. Now, you're probably wondering, what did TSM spend in full year 2024? And we have that pulled up right here. You go to the property, plant, and equipment line, and you take a look at this CapEx of $29.8 billion. Now, they're just guiding for full year 25 to be roughly at a midpoint of $40 billion. So you're expecting rapid expansion of CapEx, basically from 30 billion up to 40 billion year over year. And again, that would be concerning at a time if demand wasn't outstripping supply and really the capacity that a company like TSM can produce. But we're in a time where companies like Nvidia, companies like Apple and Intel and AMD are begging TSM to manufacture more of their chips because their customers are begging them to deliver more of those chips. And the other thing to keep in mind is this company is very flush with cash and very positively generating operating cash flows, and so you have a lot of room to continue to expand on that CapEx. And for a company like TSM, the reason it's in first place and the reason it has such a wide moat is because of the heavy investments it does into building out those very expensive fabs. And there's not many companies out there, in fact, there's probably no other company out there that can do what they do in terms of a CapEx to develop these fabs. And again, that's what gives this company a moat. So you certainly like TSM to continue to be aggressive and stay ahead of the curve in terms of CapEx spend to build out more of those fabs. Now, in terms of the current administration in the White House in the US, they are tightening the flow of TSM along with Samsung-made chips into the country of China. And management were asked specifically about that on the conference call, and they said, quote, "Let me assure you that we have a very frank and open communication with not just the current government, but also the future one as well." And management also did say that they believe the US export controls on AI chips were absolutely manageable for the company and wouldn't really affect guidance as it pertains to that. They also did say TSM is currently applying for special permits for customers who could be subject to these export restrictions, adding that he is confident permission for those customers will be granted. So look, I'm sure TSM isn't just sitting back on their hands doing absolutely nothing about not just the Biden administration, but also the incoming Trump administration. I'm sure they have really good relationships with both of these governments. They also have really good relationships with strong companies here in the US. They obviously have great relationships with Nvidia, with Elon as well, because a lot of these chips that they produce go straight to these hyperscalers in the US. So absolutely, such a dominant company would have a pretty good relationship with not just the leaving administration, but also the incoming one as well. Now, as it pertains to the conference call, we got some really important comments, like I said at the top, that you have to pay attention to whether or not you're investing in TSM, because look, even if you're investing in the plain vanilla S&P 500, yeah, a lot of that is going to Broadcom and Nvidia. And of course, those companies are huge customers of TSM. And so this certainly does relate to them as well. So like we said, TSM looking for revenue growth roughly around 35% in the current Q1 that we're in. They're also guided for full year 2025 revenue growth to come in at the mid 20s%. They also did say to expect a 5-year compounded annual growth rate of roughly 20% on that revenue side. Now keep in mind that did start beginning in 2024. So in 2024, we got roughly 33% revenue growth. In 2025, now we're expecting close to 25%. As we move into maybe 2026, 2027, probably see those growth rates tapering off. But look, a 5-year CAGR of 20% on the revenue side is certainly pretty solid. The other thing they did mention is specifically AI related revenues, and particularly from the AI accelerator, they expect those revenues to 2x in 2025, despite the fact that they nearly tripled in 2024. And you can expect those AI revenues to grow in the mid 40% CAGR over the next 5 years. And really, anytime you grow anything in the mid 40% for 5 years, that's absolutely a strong sign. Again, telling you that the AI demand is here to stay. That's the same things we've heard from Nvidia, same thing we've heard from Broadcom, same thing we heard from Microsoft when they said they plan to spend nearly $80 billion for data center capex in 2025. Look, a lot of that is going to Nvidia, and then Nvidia is moving that demand down to TSM to manufacture those chips. So all this should really tell you that the AI demand certainly looks strong for 2025, probably also for 2026. And so continue to expect high capex in those years and look to take advantage where you can from that. Now, TSM did mention that they see those fabs that they're expanding into the US to be a bit more expensive for a few reasons. First of all, it's a smaller footprint, smaller scale than the fabs back in Taiwan. They also have a bit more costly of a supply chain, and being so early in the ecosystem, those fabs are taking a little bit more capital up front in order to develop. And so that is leading to roughly a 2 to 3% gross margin hit every year over the next 5 years, again, due to the ramp in not just your 2 nanometer and 3 nanometer technology, but also the ramp in overseas fabrication facilities. That, look, this company is looking to meet those demand needs from its customers, and the way they're able to do that is by ramping overseas fabrication facilities. They also did mention that they're able to charge a bit more from those US chips that are coming from those US fabrication facilities, like the ones in Arizona, a little bit due to the fact that it's a premium product, also due to the fact that, again, they have such a good relationship with a lot of these companies in the US, like Nvidia, like AMD, even to a certain extent like Apple, that they're able to charge a bit more for those chips, again, showing you a bit of that pricing power, but also making it feasible to scale into those more expensive fabs that are there in the US. In terms of the number of fabs they're looking to open up, so they said that the first Arizona fabrication facility did enter high volume production in Q4. They also expect 2 more Arizona fabs to be on track to be completed. They also do have a specialty fab in Japan that started volume production at the end of 2024. They have 1 more expected to be online in Japan, and they're also expecting more specialty fabs in Germany and Taiwan as well. So all things considered, this company is going full speed ahead on expanding their business, on really just trying to meet that demand that they're seeing out of their core customers. And as long as they can meet that demand over the next 12 months, that will be a good sign for not just this company's revenues, but also their cash flows, again, allowing them to continue to spend more on that capex side. Now, in terms of the future growth that we saw, this company is expecting for roughly 20% CAGR on that revenue side over the next couple of years. Keep in mind, we're coming off a base of roughly 33% growth in 2024. And so you'll see that growth sort of taper off. But look, even into 2026, you can still expect high teens growth from this company on a revenue side. And then from the earnings side, continue to expect strong double-digit earnings growth. Keep in mind, you will see some gross margin headwinds as they continue to spend heavily in order to expand those fabs, not just in the US, but also in Europe and Japan. From a balance sheet, look, it might look daunting to analyze a balance sheet like this, but keep in mind you have your USD figures on the left-hand column, and then you have your year-over-year change on the rightmost column, and that's really all you need to pay attention to. Your cash and cash equivalents now sitting at nearly $65 billion, up close to 45% year over year, and your total current assets coming in at north of $94 billion. Now, we said at the top that the moat around this business is relating to its property, plant, and equipment. Really, all those fabs that this company opens up and owns, that is really what gives it a competitive advantage, and that now sits close to $98.7 billion. So nearly half of this company's total assets are tied into its property, plant, and equipment. Again, another reason telling you why it's so important to focus on this line and see what their capex spend is expected to look like in the upcoming year. From a liabilities perspective, you have total liabilities of just $72 billion. Again, you have nearly more than that in your cash and cash equivalents. So from a balance sheet perspective, nothing to really be concerned with. From their statement of P&L, you take a look at this $26.8 billion of quarterly revenue. What we really love to see is that nearly 59% gross margin business. And so you have close to $15.8 billion in gross profit. That was up close to 54% year over year. Now, keep in mind, again, a lot of these figures can sort of be telegraphed because this company provides those revenue figures on a month-to-month basis, but still just absolutely stunning to see the growth over at this company. What's even more impressive is you're growing your operating expenses, but you're growing them in check, and you're not really growing them faster than your revenues. And so you're still seeing your operating income go up nearly 64% with nearly 49% operating margins on that business. So from $26 billion of net revenue, basically half of it flows all the way down to your operating income. A phenomenal business that continues to just chug along with all things being considered. Now, taking a look at the cash flows, I think this is super important for TSM. You have nearly $56.8 billion of operating cash flows. This is for the full year of 2024. And keep in mind, nearly $29.8 billion of capex is what we saw this year. So even if you consider close to $40 billion of capex next year, that's still very doable for a company that printed close to $57 billion of operating cash flows in 2024. And so the remainder of that cash flows, they basically use to pay off a dividend tune of nearly $11 billion. They don't really do a buyback, and so they add close to $20 billion onto their cash pile. This company certainly needs to have a fair amount of cash sitting there, because in case the market, and in particular the AI demand, begins to wane, then absolutely this company will continue to spend that capex on building out those fabs while not seeing nearly as much operating cash flows. And so that's why it's super important for this company to be sitting on a fair amount of cash at any given moment. But all things being considered, it was a stellar quarter over at TSM. From their guidance, it looks to be a stellar year, as well as they're guiding for everything to remain red hot and demand to continue to outstrip supply and really continue to constrain capacity over at this company. From a technical perspective, company has basically gone straight up over the past, call it 9 months. I wouldn't blame anyone to continue to add in 2 shares of TSM on any significant pullbacks. I think even $10 lower at $206, $207, you could make a case to step in because you're supported by this nearly 12, 16 month long uptrend with shares of TSM. You also have a huge, gigantic long-term uptrend dating all the way back to 2008, where if shares come down any meaningful way, you'd probably still be in a well-defined uptrend, and any significant dips down to maybe the 180s, 170s, I think those are your chances to absolutely step in and buy. But I think TSM will continue to have a phenomenal 2025. Will you see the same outperformance that you saw, up nearly 113%? Probably not, but you will, in my opinion, continue to outperform the broader market, especially continue to outperform other semiconductor names. I think the three names you have to own if you're in the semiconductor space still remain TSM, Nvidia, and Broadcom. And I think TSM's Q4 results really don't change much of that. That was my take on shares of TSM. A very stellar quarter, a very stellar 2024 this company just had, and I expect to see another pretty stellar year in 2025, and certainly wouldn't be surprised if shares continue to move higher. Let me know your thoughts on this one in the comment section below. As always, thanks so much for listening, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.